is up, nerds? My name is Travis, and this is Wonder Nerd. Hey, did you ever wonder... Where am I? Let's talk about the Umbrella Academy. The Umbrella Academy began its life as a 25-issue comic book series for Dark Horse Comics, created by Gerard Way, the lead singer of My Chemical Romance, and illustrated by Gabriel Ba. I hope I'm saying his last name right, but I don't think I am. You can actually see some early iterations of some of the characters from the Umbrella Academy in the My Chemical Romance documentary Life on a Murder Scene when Gerard is sketching early versions of Spaceboy, aka Luther.
And he's a guy that got in an accident and they had to put his head on the body of a gorilla. And he has to wear this kind of apparatus to keep himself alive, kind of like an iron lung.
Dark Horse would actually release the comics in a limited series run, releasing 6 to 7 issues. 3 volumes have been released since its first publication in 2007, with the 4th volume of the main series still in development. I say main series because the Umbrella Academy has 7 spin-offs divided up into 2 volumes. These are all one-shots called Tales from the Umbrella Academy. The spin-offs are Hazel and Cha-Cha Save Christmas, focusing on time-traveling hitmen Hazel and Cha-Cha being sent on a mission to stop a rogue agent from disrupting the timeline, assumedly during Christmas. And then there's You Look Like Death. You Look Like Death is a 6-issue limited run focusing on the adventures of young Klaus Hargreaves in Hollywood, where he meets a struggling actress and has to deal with the politics of the vampire mafia. You know, normal stuff. Well, for Klaus, at least, it's kind of on brand. There are also a handful of Umbrella Academy short stories. Monde is a 2-page preview about a time machine built by Number 5 that sends Seance, aka Klaus, back in time to be a French military commander. But the Past Ain't Through With You was a free comic book day issue where the Umbrella Academy have to investigate the murder of a duplicate of the Rumor, aka Allison, and battle the Murder Magician. Great name. Safe and Sound is an 8-page MySpace exclusive about the Kraken, aka Diego, saving the daughter of the mayor. Anywhere But Here is about the Hargreaves as teenagers, focusing on the relationship between Diego and Vanya, culminating in a rift between the two. And Safe was illustrated... I fucked that up so hard and I was doing so well too. And Safe was illustrated by Gabriel Ba and also written by Gabriel Ba, and is about Reginald Hargreaves and his assistant investigating an interdimensional entity that was teased in Hotel Oblivion and sets up the story's continuation in Sparrow Academy. Before the Umbrella Academy was adapted into a TV series for Netflix, a film version of the comics was optioned by Universal Studios. Mark Bombach, a screenwriter known for the Planet of the Apes movies and Live Free or Die Hard, an underrated classic in my opinion, was tapped to write the script, but was reportedly replaced by Rawson Marshall Thurber, known for writing and directing movies like Dodgeball and We're the Millers and Central Intelligence. You know, in some timeline, there is a film version of The Umbrella Academy where Diego is played by The Rock, and I don't hate it. At the 2012 Comic-Con, Gerard Way all but confirmed that the movie was a no-go, stating that there were good talks and good scripts, but that it was ultimately kind of up to the universe. Hey, don't leave too many things up to the universe. That's how you end up with this hair. On July 7th of 2015, it was announced that instead of a movie, a series would be produced by Universal Cable Productions. Less than a week later, on July 11th, Netflix greenlit a live-action adaptation of The Umbrella Academy, with Gerard Way and Gabriel Ba acting as executive producers. The show would premiere in 2019, being created by Steve Blackman, who would also act as the showrunner. Now, the showrunner is essentially just the person in charge. Before this, Blackman was a co-showrunner for Private Practice. The pilot was written by series developer Jeremy Slater, who would also go on to write a majority of the episodes. I actually had no interest in watching this show when it first started streaming. I think I just had fatigue and was jaded with high budget, action-y, drama-y shows, especially since I was forced to watch the final season of Game of Thrones, and you all know how that went. Thanks a pant load, Kev. I was also watching Stranger Things at the time, so I guess I was just thinking, oh, hey, I got my show. I don't need another one. I'm all set. But my partner wanted to watch the show and asked if I would be okay suffering through one episode. And of course I was, because it's her. And by the time that episode ended, I was sitting there like, well, you know, we might as well watch another episode just to see where the story goes. And I was hooked. Season 1 does what Season 1s do. Introduce us to our players and lay the groundwork for what the relationships are like, what the stories are going to be, and what the conflict is going to be. The premise of the show is that on October 1st, 1989, 43 women around the world all gave birth simultaneously at noon without having had any signs of pregnancy at all until the moment of labor. Out of the 43 children born that day, 7 were taken and adopted by eccentric billionaire Sir Reginald Hargreaves, who trains them to become a superhero team called the Umbrella Academy. Reginald doesn't give the kids names, just numbers, because he is an unfeeling billionaire who doesn't care about them, but what they can do for him. It's their mother who gives them all names. Their mother, Grace, who's a robot. Season 1 is set in present day 2019. Luther, number 1, is part ape and has been living on the moon for the last 4 years. Diego, number 2, has been holding on to the superhero lifestyle even after the family ensemble has disbanded, becoming a vigilante. Allison, number 3, is now a famous actress with a child and an ex-husband. The American dream. Klaus, I'm giving up on the number stuff now. I can't remember who's who. Klaus is an eccentric drug addict who is the only one who can see their dead brother, Ben. Ben's death during a mission was actually the catalyst for the Umbrella Academy disbanding. Number 5, the only one who didn't get a real name for some reason, like ever in the show. Give the boy a name. He disappeared 16 years ago and has been time hopping all over the place. That's his power. He just blips all around. He blips here. He blips over here. He just blips all over the place. And Vanya, the only sibling who wasn't allowed to partake in heroing, is now a violinist and totally without contact with their family. Good call, they seem pretty fucked up. 5 has finally returned home, remaining the same age he was when he disappeared, but with the manner and attitude of a grizzled, much older man, like Brick from The Middle if he wasn't an annoying little shit. He reveals to his siblings that a global apocalypse is imminent. Oh no! And that he is being trailed by time-traveling commission operatives Hazel and Cha-Cha. The siblings reunite even though they don't really want to, for obvious reasons, uncovering the secrets behind their mysterious father's life and mending their dysfunctional and strained relationships. With dance! They band together and try to prevent the apocalypse as a family. Season 2 pulls from the comic story Dallas, which finds the siblings scattered throughout Dallas, Texas in the 1960s as a result of the end of Season 1. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that is. This channel is a spoiler-free zone. The siblings have apparently been in Dallas for quite some time and have established lives for themselves. 5 is the last one to arrive, arriving on November 25th, 1963, just before another apocalypse is about to take place, which is apparently linked to JFK not being assassinated. There's a lot going on. But have no fear, an elderly Hazel, who aged several decades for some reason, manages to help send 5 back in time 10 days. 5 is being hunted by a trio of Swedish assassins who end up also trying to kill his siblings because, why not? Allison is married to a man and is fighting racism because it's the 1960s and there's a lot of that there. Diego is in a lunatic asylum where he meets and falls in love with a girl named Lila. Vanya is working for a family that has a farm and a special needs son, and she is falling in love with the mother. Yeah, get it, Vanya? And Klaus runs a cult. Makes sense? Also, Diego really, really wants to stop the assassination of JFK. And, the lunatic asylum, it makes sense now. 5 and the rest of the siblings are up against the commission because they are trying to prevent another apocalypse, which, just like in the first season, is because Vanya got big feelings. 5 has to kill the head of the commission. Vanya has to get her powers back from the boy they watch after they saved him from drowning. Like I said, there's a lot going on. And of course, boom, no apocalypse. But when the siblings go back to their time, things have changed. There is no Umbrella Academy. Instead, it's the Sparrow Academy. And Ben is alive? In Season 3, the siblings realize that their past actions have created a new timeline. Yeah, no shit. Have you seen the butterfly effect? Me neither. They realize that the new timeline they've created is vastly different from their own, and that Hargreaves has replaced them with new superhero children, the aforementioned Sparrow Academy. The Sparrows do not trust the Umbrella Academy, obviously, and Ben is really frustrated with the whole "you were dead, how are you now alive" thing. Luther also falls for Sloane, a Sparrow member who is technically, I guess, his adopted sister, so he's got a type or a kink. Either way, 2 for 2. This season also sees them trying to stop something called the Kugelblitz, which is defined as another apocalyptic event. Hooray! This entire season is set in a hotel, which I really enjoyed, gave real Eloise at Christmas time vibes. This season also sees Vanya become Victor because their actor, Elliot Page, transitioned while the show was in production. So instead of forcing a trans man to continue playing a female character, the character also transitioned, which is a win for the show in my books. The characterization didn't really change. He's just Victor now. From what I recall, Elliot Page was nervous about coming out as trans to the show's producers, but they were super supportive of Elliot's transition and the transition of Victor to keep Elliot a part of the show. Gerard Way was super supportive too, but I never thought that he wouldn't be. And if you have a problem with Elliot Page or Victor, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself? Go fuck yourself. There's a lot going on this season, a lot of weird stuff, some backstabby business involving Allison, because of course. A lot of people said this is where the show started to dip in quality, and, yeah, kinda. It's still a good season, though, and should have been the last, but don't worry, we'll get to that. So this season ends with them stopping yet another cataclysmic event, but they've lost their powers, and Sloane, somehow, in the process. Siblings, getting a chance to live a normal life, go their separate ways. The final season pissed me off. The final season pissed me off so goddamn much. We were so excited to finally watch the last season of The Umbrella Academy. We got to it a little late, what with moving into a new house, apparently, and making sure that my mom's Netflix account still worked on my TV. It did. When we finally sat down and watched it, we were taken aback, to say the very least. First off, there is a time jump. Now, I don't mind the time jump. COVID kind of fucked up a lot of TV shows' continuity, so a time jump makes sense. The siblings are powerless. You remember last season? They've all been living their own lives. Diego and Lila are living that suburban life. They had a couple of kids, and there's a running joke about Diego being fat this season. Where? Where on this man is fat? His ass? Hell yeah. He's been caked up this entire time. But if you're gonna have a weird running joke like this, at least make it believable. There was nothing about Diego that said fat or even chubby or even just a little bit thick besides his ass. Klaus is now afraid of everything. He's afraid of germs, he's afraid of the outside, loud noises, everything, because he doesn't have his powers anymore, which means he can die now. But our boy has been sober since the time jump, so a win is a win. Klaus is also living with Allison and her daughter. Allison is back to being an actress, but now she's struggling to even get commercial work, and hey, I feel her. Victor is sleeping with every single woman in Canada. Nice. And Luther is a male stripper. Nice. 5 is 5. Do just be 5-ing. Good vibes only, am I right? He's working for the CIA, which seems pretty on brand. Oh, and Ben is in jail for a crypto scam, which doesn't seem on brand, but I don't know. I had to do so much extra research when it comes to season 4 because it is so forgettable. Forgettable, or am I trying to block it from my memory? There's a cult this season. They're kind of like flat earthers, but unlike flat earthers, these guys are kind of right about what they're talking about. So I don't know, take that, flat earthers. The cult is led by Nick Offerman and Megan Mullally, and they are diamonds in the doo-doo pile that is season 4. David Cross is also in this season. He's here too. I love David Cross, but I felt like this character here was a nothing sandwich. Yeah, he was needed for a few plot points, but by the time shit started to get real, he was pretty much forgotten about, which is a shame because, like I said, I like David Cross. Five gets tipped off about the cult, so he goes undercover to sit in on one of their meetings. And who does he run into while he's there? Why, Lila, of course. Is she a part of the cult? No. She's also trying to investigate their weirdo behavior and get away from her husband and children because she's sad with her boring life. They decide to work together to get to the bottom of the cult thing. This sets off a misunderstanding where Diego, because he's crazy, thinks that Lila is sneaking around on him with a tiny Greek, which, by the way, is fucking wild. Like I said, Five is working for the CIA, and for some reason, Diego really wants to work for the CIA too. Ever since this season began, he's been badgering Five to talk to somebody to get him a job there, because that's how that works. I'm pretty sure the CIA hires people the same way Burger King does. Hey, someone who needs a job? Oh, you crazy brother? Bring him in, he'd be perfect. Five gets Diego a job, though, along with Luther, mostly to keep them from fucking up his investigation. Nothing much really happens with this plot except Diego and Luther absolutely demolishing a bunch of CIA employees in a pretty decent fight scene, I'll be honest. Oh, I forgot to mention, they have their powers back. Nope, they don't want their powers back, but Ben is a dick and makes them drink this magic marigold potion, essentially forcing their powers back onto them. Now that they have their powers back, Klaus falls back into his old habits. He can't die, so why fear death? Oh shit, wow, that's kind of deep. Woo. Anyway, he becomes a prostitute that sleeps with people, but it's not Klaus. It's the client's loved ones who died. Yeah. He also starts stealing from Allison and her daughter. It's actually really sad. Klaus gets buried alive by his pimp, but he seances a dog whose grave is close, and that ghost dog digs him out. Somehow, I didn't know ghost dogs could do that. Eventually, Allison and her daughter come to help rescue Klaus. I can't hold back anymore. This is where me and my partner got absolutely heated watching this season. In the last 2 episodes, and mind you, there's only 6 episodes this season because fuck fleshing out a finale, right? In the last 2 episodes, there is an arc where Five and Lila blip into this little train station that can take them to different timelines because they're looking for the Kugelblitz or Bigfoot. I don't know. This season is ass. They're going to all these timelines until suddenly they get stuck. They can't get back to their timeline. So they find a nice spot to live out their days until they figure out a leap home. And they fall in love. I hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it. My partner and I were watching this horseshit unfold, seething. Did the producers think that Five needed a romance subplot because everybody else got one? If so, they didn't even watch their own fucking show because he had one. Dolores! Does no one remember Dolores? Five's mannequin girlfriend? Why are we forgetting about Dolores? Anyway, Elon Musk in a bitch boy Ben skin suit meets a girl. Aw, cute. This girl has a whole town protecting her. Literally. And by protecting her, of course, I mean keeping a huge secret from her like she has death powers. Yup, that's right, she is another sibling. Man, what is it with this family and falling in love with their siblings? Explain. Jennifer and Ben, Jennifer is the girl, aren't supposed to be together because Jennifer and Ben are the Cleanse, aka the Kugelblitz, or whatever. They're the ones the cult is after. Did I mention that there's a cult? I think I mentioned that there's a cult. Anyway, the cult's doomsday day can only happen if Ben and Jennifer do it, if they combine or touch. I don't know. This season doesn't make any sense, you guys. Reginald and Victor team up to make sure that Ben and Jen don't go kaboom and end the entire world. But Reginald wants to kill them. Meanwhile, Victor is like, oh, no, we can do it. It's okay. We can use words. No. Kill them. Kill them. Kill me for having to sit through this entire season. There's cult stuff that means nothing. It's all bullshit. It doesn't amount to anything. Ben and Jen create the Google Cleanse or whatever, and they become a grotesque, amorphous blob from my nightmares, and they're just chomping on everything and everyone. The world is fucked. Thanks, Ben and Jen. The Umbrella Academy is like, what do we do? What do? They sacrifice themselves, of course, because if they let the Cleanse absorb them and their marigold, then the timeline will be made right. That makes sense! So the siblings join hands and throw each other a few last loving jabs, whilst Bennifer noms them up, and then poof! They were never born. Never born! What a fucking cop-out ending. What a sad, poorly thought out middle finger to the fans. This is your ending. After all this time. I didn't watch this alone, obviously, because I would have jumped out a fucking window if I did. I needed an anchor. And that anchor was my fiance. And she has a few opinions of her own on the finale. So, Catherine? Imagine if I ended my videos like that. Like, I'm finally done with YouTube. I've won. And then all of a sudden, it's just like...
And no YouTube videos were ever made. No Shaggy Voice, no Drew Carey Show, no Full House. And the world was fine with that.
My name is Travis, and this is Wonder Nerd. Hey, do you like videos about movies, TV shows, snacks, etc.? Well, then you should consider subscribing to the channel, where I make videos about movies, TV shows, snacks, etc. This video was a big undertaking for me. Like I said, I haven't made a video for YouTube in like 7 months. I'm a little rusty. I've been making short videos on TikTok and my second channel, wondernerd.com. Go ahead and subscribe to that just in case TikTok goes away again. But I haven't done a long form video like this where I actually write out a script and take notes in like 7 months. We've moved! Apparently. So I had a whole load of videos ready to go when we moved to upload, and then I thought by the time I was done uploading those, I would have my whole space ready to go. That was in like the summertime. It's March now. But I'm happy to be back. I'm glad I got the chance to talk about The Umbrella Academy Season 4 and how shit it was. I know it might be a little late, but hey, nostalgia. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the people who have hung around. I think I got a few new subscribers in the time that I've been away, so that's rad. Stick around because I'm going to be doing my best to bring you new videos every single Monday. My name is Travis, and remember, nerds rule.